Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon. This is the show where I take a look at every classic Doctor Who story, one episode at a time, one per day. And today, on the 2nd of March, 2018, we are beginning the second John Pertwee story with the welcome return to the writing team from Malcolm Hulke in Doctor Who and the Silurians with episode 1. Outside of the fact that this episode has an awful title, he's not called Doctor Who, and I don't know why they referred to the story like this, whereas the Silurians would work just as well as a title. I still don't know, it's just one of those weird things that gets done, and, as one of those things, I have to say that, other than that, we go into an opening where a guy gets essentially attacked, some caved spelunkers get attacked by a dinosaur, and we cut straight to the Doctor, who's working on a car, because, he doesn't have his TARDIS working, so, he obviously has to, sort of improvise with this one, he uses a car, which is interesting, and Liz comes in and basically says, hey, you gotta go down to this Wenley Moore place and investigate, because weird stuff's been happening, people have been going insane, and there have been a bunch of power outages, and a lot of this episode is literally just trying to figure out what is it with all these power outages, why they happen. The Doctor has some ideas, and just sort of what is going on. Mainly this is an episode where we introduce everybody's basically we introduce everybody's character. We have, of course, our three main characters, the Doctor, Liz, and the Brigadier. We also have Dr. Quinn, who is sort of just their head nuclear scientist. Dr. Lawrence, who is basically in charge of the place, played by the late, great Peter Miles, who passed away, I think, only a couple of days ago at the time of recording. And we also have Dr. Lawrence, who is in charge of security, and we have people who have there are some weird things that logging the power turns out has been done incorrectly, it seems, that someone's forgotten to log a couple of days, outside of the guy who's in charge of logging it being ill and basically being reduced to a primitive state by something. He saw something scary. We don't quite know what it is, so the Doctor decides, right, I'm going to go down into these caves and see, because that's where he started to lose it, after this guy accidentally died in these caves, and it was determined to just be like an accident, like a rock fell on this guy, so the Doctor's down, and our big cliffhanger is that he sees the dinosaur. Now, the cliffhanger doesn't quite work because it's a monster reveal, but we've already seen the monster in, the first few, in, the second shot. The monster is shown in its entirety, which is just, that's not effective. You can't, build up that, oh my gosh, there might be a monster, and that'd be the cliffhanger. But let's show the monster in the first shot anyway. That is just, it's not a very good, it's not a very good way of doing it. It doesn't work well at all. It's kind of silly. So, just for that, I'm going to give Doctor Who and the Silurians, episode 1, a 9 out of 10. But this is a really good start to the story, though. Alright, it is the 5th of March, 2018. I apologize for the few gaps in days. I'm going to try to make those up, and possibly even end the story a little earlier than originally planned. But I just finished watching episode 2 of Doctor Who and the Silurians. And this episode continues just the streak of quality for the story. We pick back up. We have the Brigadier and co. about ready to search for the Doctor because he hasn't come back, and then he just shows up, swanters in. I like John Pertwee's Doctor. He plays the role with this finesse, and, sort of this comic timing of, oh, well, you see, I know much more about what's going on than you, and I am extremely intelligent, and you will quote me always. So, you have that being quite, just sort of something to really get you on the doctor's side for this. Like, seriously, the doctor just reads, reads his character, he's got a good, not only just a good character, but it's just, is genuinely entertaining. You have a lot of stuff going interesting. We see this creature, which after unit goes into the caves, they shoot first, ask questions later, after essentially being attacked, and they injure some sort of a creature. We don't see what this creature is yet, and that's really good. We see its claw, and we see through its eyes, which is sort of this interesting 3-eye pattern, 2 clear ones and 1 tinted red on the top, and sort of like a triangular shape, which, it sort of gives you this feeling of, well, this thing isn't quite human, maybe we should be wary of what it is. We don't know what it is, but just be a little wary, because it's not a human being. We don't know what it is. It's probably dangerous. So that is, that's really, really cool. And then it basically goes to and it attacks this farmer lady. The doctor and company investigate that. They figure out it's kind of close to where Dr. Quinn lives, but they don't really make any sort of connection between them, because they have no reason to. They just think, oh, that's a coincidence. But then they go and see the lady in the hospital. The doctor draws essentially a weird face of some sort of like a reptilian thing. And the doctor sort of just realizes, okay, I think I know what's going on. It's still in the barn, and the ending of the episode, it attacks Liz. That's the weird thing about these stories so far, is that we get very bite-sized plot chunks. You think they'd be padded out. This episode just feels a little slow in places. But everything is great. Like, all the acting, all the characters are interesting. And yeah, it's just an all-around a pretty good episode. It does a lot of stuff interesting. So I'm going to give Doctor and the Silurians episode 2 another 9 out of 10. Alright, it is still the 5th of March, 2018, and I just finished watching Doctor and the Silurians episode 3. And this episode continues again this amazing, this amazing streak of episodes that we've had since really the War Games. We pick up with the resolution to the cliffhanger where Liz essentially gets knocked out by seeing it. The creature is able to lock itself in, and we just have this tense scene where the doctor and unit is just they're trying to get in, well, because they see Liz, the creature they think is hiding. They bust in. The doctor realizes, hey, Liz has been attacked. That's not good. We're going to see what this leads to. And so they have this unit searches the shed. They see some chickens upstairs, but the creature has escaped. Dr. Quinn shows up and basically says, well, I wanted to see if everything was going all right. Oh dear, it's attacked. Well, I'm going to head back to the research station. Oh, so then the doctor's like, well, could you give Liz a lift? And then it's like, no, I've got my car's wrong. I might take some time, so I have to go fix it before I go back. Oh, because I'm not, Quinn has just been lying through his teeth. He is working with the aliens, and this is the first thing that the doctor really gets to it. The second thing is Liz, immediately afterward, Liz figures out, hey, the cottage Dr. Quinn owns is here. We're over here. The station, town is over there. These are 3 opposite directions. This doesn't add up. He's lying. Which, is kind of the thing. So then a bulk of the episode is just this whole search for the creature. And we see a lot of high-tech stuff. And it's, just sort of helicopters flying around, zooming, and, being helicopters. And that's already great to watch. It's a lot of fun to watch that. But what else is happening is that Dr. Quinn has this device. He's using it to signal to the Silurians. The Doctor and Brigadier hear the device. They follow him after being reported to that, hey, there's this guy and he's randomly waving to us. It was weird. We don't know what happened. Brigadier, maybe you should investigate it because that doesn't really make much sense. Like, why would a guy do that at random? It doesn't make sense. So that's that sort of gets the Brigadier onto the path of, well, maybe we should be investigating this whole thing. So the Brigadier goes to investigate that with the Doctor. Quinn, you see the creature come up from behind Quinn, go up towards him, and then when we cut away to the Doctor and when the Brigadier arriving, and they're both gone. Quinn has taken the creature away. The Doctor connects these dots, goes to Quinn's cottage for a confrontation. And this confrontation is great. Like, he, first off, he's like, I saw your car. The Doctor's like, well, I saw your car, so I thought I'd just, come and see you. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I was going back to the research station, but I forgot something. It's like, oh, okay. The Quinn tries to slam the door in his face. The Doctor invites him. It's like, oh, charming place got here. Weird that it's, like, really warm, almost like a reptile house in a zoo. Hint, hint, I know what you're doing, Quinn. You can't trick me. I can see right through your lies. It's like, oh yes, well, it gets quite cold up here, and the thermostation's, well, I could. The Doctor's like, well, oh, it's jammed. I could fix that for you, no problem. I mean, I love tinkering with stuff, so I'll just give me a minute and I can get that fixed for you. And he's like, oh no, I've already called the people. They're on their way. It's like, oh, okay. Okay, still, it's really warm. Even in here, it's really warm. Even though we're, in the garage, it should be slightly colder. I can help you, you don't have to do this alone. It's like, okay, and then the Doctor leaves, faces back in the window, and then goes back. He and Liz, search Quinn's office, break into his cabinet, and find notes on the Silurian era, and a globe that shows the continents before continental drift. And then Miss Dawson comes in and is like, hey, I know these things, the Doctor tells her, and it's like, Quinn might be in danger. It's like, well, if he's in danger, I will. Then the Brigadier comes in. It's like, oh, and the Doctor's like, yes, tell us. It's like, oh, no, never mind. You don't need to know anything. So that's hilarious. So to figure everything out, Miss Dawson goes back to Quinn and says, hey, things are going too far. Get back to the research station. It's like, okay, I guess we'll do it. They need to, but the Silurians, they need to give me the technology that they promised me. So they go back. The Doctor comes and breaks and enters, and boom, we actually get the monster reveal. Like, these 3 episodes have been great at keeping the monsters in the dark, and this just reveal is amazing. Like, it knows how to like, oh my gosh, this is actually quite creepy. Like, where did this come from? And it rounds out the episode perfectly. The episode itself is perfect, so I'm going to give Doctor and the Silurians, episode 3, a 10 out of 10. It is the 6th of March in 2018, and I just finished watching episode 4 of Doctor Who and the Silurians, and this one is sort of the, I guess you could call this the transition, because the story itself is essentially a story of 2 halves. Like, there's no way to deny that the story works as the first half and the second half, and this is just sort of the midway point. And as a midway point, what I can say is it does its jobs very, very well. It's got a couple of problems, mainly that there's this big story loop of the Doctor and Liz, of course you have the cliffhanger reprise with Quinn being dead and the Silurian bursting, and then the Doctor actually comes in and is like, well, his first thing that he goes to is a rather nice moment. He goes right to diplomacy. He's like, hey, let me help you. You're scared. Let's try to work out a solution that'll benefit everybody. That's just a great little sort of thing, in my opinion, that we have. We have this bit where the Doctor's like, okay, I'm going to. It's like I'm not gonna try. I'm not gonna try and. I'm not gonna try and kill anyone. I'm just gonna go in, and I am going to see if I can help these people, because They obviously need help. They are not. Um, they are human. They are much like human beings, and they are probably scared out of their minds. And I don't know what they are. So it's a really nice sequence. The Silurians eventually do sort of show that they are pretty isolationist in their views. They don't agree that the human beings should be allowed to live, pretty much. They're like, well, you're human beings, you suck, I hate you all, you're all gonna die. Like, it's not, that's just what we're doing. I'm gonna make sure you get killed, and, it's, we're not gonna, you're not gonna be able, really, I don't care that you have you have this planet now. It's our planet. We want it back, and we're gonna go to whatever lengths we have to get it. And that is an amazingly nuanced portrayal, because it sets them up as villains, but they have a right to the planet because they were here first. Kind of like, it was sort of like they. The idea is that they were in hibernation. We don't know why yet. We eventually will get the why. And what's interesting, you have the Doctor unit essentially being like, right, well, we best get everything, we best get an alternative ready, because all we know right now is they're pretty hostile. Like, we have no way of knowing that they are not hostile, so we're just gonna go ahead and say, hey, they're hostile. We'll be ready just in case this goes completely kablooey. But the Doctor's like, well, the Doctor then goes in and is like, well, I'm gonna go and behind the Brigadier's back, and it's like, right, I'm gonna try to help them, while the Brigadier and his men are going to scout them out. The Silurians stop the Brigadier and his men through a wall. It's implied that they're going to kill them, which, is already kind of just cements the fact that they are isolationists. They don't want people. They don't like human beings. Human beings are not at all are not allowed here. So just go away, humans. But the Doctor's and then the Doctor ends up getting himself captured. Not only that, but he gets himself captured, and they interrogate him, and they're basically, the cliffhanger is they're cyclically killing him. So yeah, this story itself, the entire story has been just great when it comes to building up of things, especially with what the Doctor's been doing. Like, it's all been a really good episode. It's just a little paced wrong, so I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. Alright, it is the 7th of March, 2018, and I just finished watching episode 5 of Doctor Who and the Silurians. And I have to say that this episode perfectly brings us in for a finale for the story. We have the Doctor essentially, not wanting to give the Silurians any sort of he doesn't want to give them any cause to basically to hurt the human race. And he wants to try to get them to save them. So he eventually gets an audience with one of the head Silurians. And he basically says, hey, you can't kill the humans because they've evolved. They are no longer the apes you once knew. They've essentially changed. They've changed into they've changed into different types of people. So, and that is something that is just, it's a great way to bring the episode. Like, you really show who the Doctor is, while Liz is essentially trying to stall. He's trying to stall anyone going into the caves and anyone really, having a chance to get, get sort of get the get information on what the on basically on what the Silurians are planning. So that Major Baker, who was in fact essentially captured by the Silurians, he returns. Basically, he returns, but is ill because the Silurians, who there are two really groups of Silurians. The ones who kind of think, hey, this doctor guy says that there could be peace, so maybe we should try for peace, which is not 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 bad, but but there are Silurians who don't really want to see any sort of any sort they don't want peace. They want to win. Like, the Doctor wins them over with peace by saying, hey, there are a bunch of places on the Earth where humans don't really use, mainly in things like deserts and places like that. So, hey, you use the deserts, everything will be fine. No, I'm sure we could talk to the people and to the human beings, and they'll eventually agree to it. So, don't give up hope. We could still probably, find a solution that works for everyone. Which is just such a Doctor thing to do. It's like, hey, we don't have any reason to fear you. You have no reason to fear us. We're going to try to find a solution for everything. And that's just plain great. But the Silurians who are against it take this virus that they used mainly to kill humans as they were evolving, as they were developing in their states, and gives it to Major Baker. And the cliffhanger is that Baker gets out, he escapes from a hospital, and the virus is already starting to spread. Like, that is just the tension in this episode builds as we build to that cliffhanger moment where Liz, the Doctor, and the Brigadier find a dead body, and that Major Baker has made it out, and they want to put everything in quarantine. It's sort of just this. We're screwed. We need to lock everything down, or else this is gonna get not only out of hand, but nearly impossible. But things nearly impossible for things to really resolve themselves. Like, we're gonna need everyone on board to try to stop things, and that is just plain. That's good. It's a really, really good sort of way to end this, like, with that being the conclusion to the episode. So I'm going to give the Doctor and the Silurians episode 5 a 10 out of 10, because it knows how to finish this episode. It just knows how to continue and bring us sort of to a better place. It is the 8th of March, 2018, and I just finished watching episode 6 of Doctor Who and the Silurians, the penultimate episode of the story, and I have to say that this episode continues on being just plain amazing. This is the episode where everything sort of really, I don't want to say falls apart, but yeah, everything pretty much falls apart. You have, of course, you have Masters escaping, essentially escaping out into the world, and this causes him, this causes the virus of the Silurians to spread, and the spreading of this virus is extremely scary, mainly because it's something that really we don't have any sort of control over. It's one of those things that it just sort of, you get this feeling that because of this, everything's gonna, um, everything, everything is going to fall, mainly because just, we don't have, um, basically because they don't, the doctor has no idea what, um, what the cure is by this point, and they end up narrowing it down. A lot of this episode is just building on that science that, hey, we may be able to figure out what this virus is, and with that information, and using that information, we're going to be able to save everybody. But that being said, it's not an episode where safety can really come into count, because there's no real, well, there's no there's no way to stay safe from this virus. It's the virus is going to kill everybody on the planet Earth. It doesn't matter if, and the doctor, a lot of the episode is just this beautiful tenseness of the doctor trying to figure out how to essentially not just beat it. How can we win this? And you get the feeling that there just isn't a way to do that. It's a very good thing for the episode to do. That being said, you have the Silurians essentially killing any of the Silurians who wanted to help, the ones who wanted to maybe work with the humans. So they end up invading the research base, and the big cliffhanger is Liz might have the virus. They have a cure, but the doctor has not written the formula down, because it's one of those things where it's like, well, we don't quite know if it's going to be, it's not, if it's going to actually be a real cure. So so the entire so you have our, I guess you could say, our hero, that is our hero, that's been taken away, and everything just is wrapping up to our conclusion. So I'm going to give Doctor and the Silurians episode 6 a 10 out of 10. Alright, it is the 9th of March 2018. I just finished watching episode 7 of Doctor Who and the Silurians. I would say that this episode finishes the story. I do apologize, it's late at night and I'm a little tired right now. Finishes the story with what can only be described as a plum. If plum here means excellence, mainly because it's just plain a great conclusion to everything. Like, seriously, as a story, it does a really good job at building everything up, and really just getting everything gets everything to a really big conclusion. You have this is sort of one of those things where I guess everything starts to go wrong. It follows Murphy's Law. Something can go wrong. It will go wrong. Mainly because the Doctor is all like, um, well, this is one of those things where, the Doctor, he has the formula, it works, and, that's great because that means that the Doctor could, in fact, be, um, it, it could be a thing that, that just sort of finishes everything. It brings everything to full circle. You have the Doctor saving everybody, but then being captured by the Silurians. That then leads to him. That leads to him. That leads to him trying to escape the Silurians as they invade the base. Well, the Doctor and Liz are both getting very, very tired as they have had trying days, really, with what's going on. With what is going on, having just to fix everything, where the Doctor invades, he has to to save everyone from the Silurians. He puts the nuclear reactor into overdrive, which allows all the Silurians to die. But then you have the big reveal, which has the Doctor. He wants to. He still wants. He still wants to try and save them. He thinks that they can be saved, and they could, there could still be, there could still be peace between the humans and the Silurians. But then the Brigadier blows up the base, and we just have that gut punch, ending on such a downer note where it's one of those. This basically shows that how great the first Doctor has. The third Doctor is already. This is because this is her first. This is his second story, and it is just such a gut punch. So I'm going to give Doctor and the Silurians episode 7 a 10 out of 10. And because that was the final episode of the story, that means, of course, that we have the chance to tally up the 7 episodes of Doctor and the Silurians to give Doctor and the Silurians a final score of 9.57 out of 10. Thank everybody for watching this installment of the Ultimate Doctor Who Marathon, and please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And join me next time when we take a look at the next John Pertwee story, as we do with the Ambassadors of Death.